head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than a sunshine in my eyes. You got those pretty eyes.
So Nick, how was your day today?
Ah, like all Mondays, hectic. Phone wouldn't stop ringing. Everybody needs help. Everybody.
They're
So
all
that's what
falling
we do.
apart.
We solve problems. So the day ended well, and everybody's happy. And Nick's at home, nice and refreshed from a nice shower, feeling so much better. So hot in New York. So hot.
It's hot right now in San Diego, but I'm not outside, so I can wear black and I'm good. And I think I spilled powder. I could still see whiteness in there all over the place. But anyway, 50 inspirational. Oh my God, we're on episode 3.
It's crazy. It's just when you start this project, you don't realize where it's gonna go. Like you can make a plan, right? But it's like a funnel, but the other way. It's like an upside down funnel, and it just grew and grew and grew. And the amount of people that sent in their applications, it says a lot. It really, really does.
I'm actually very happy that I did this thing out of watching you and watching my process and watching Donald. And because Donald's the only one I've seen that elevate his community in so many ways every day. Like I couldn't show up every day and I felt
I
almost
know.
bad, you know?
It's hard, and he does show up every single day. And I know that a good few times a week I listen in to his show and yours, with my headset at work, and it means so much to me. Even though I can't really say anything but hi guys, I'm here. I can't really like comment because I'm typing at work or whatever. But just that whole spirit of community. And you know what I was thinking when I was taking a shower before? I was thinking there's so many of us on LinkedIn, and now so many of us are connected. And you can't have a coffee chat with everybody as much as you might want to. Like, time is so limited, right? These videos actually are giving us an opportunity to get to really know each other's story. Like the conversation that you would want to have in a coffee chat, right? When you start to talk about yourself. I love it. It's like giving that extra element of being able to,
Get to
you
know
know,
your people. And
yeah.
that's what that was my main thing, is getting to elevate you at the same time of who you are. And
Mhm.
it's also interesting because obviously our life can't be summed up in 5 minutes. Duh.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting how they pick a certain portion of what they want to show us. Also shows me who they are and how comfortable they are with their public on what they're willing to share. It shows both
Yes,
sides.
it does. It does show both how vulnerable some people choose to be versus others, not in a discriminatory way, because everybody has their level of privacy.
Yep.
And the first step they took was to say, hey, listen, I'm going to do this. So that's
Yep.
already like
That's
synonymous
courage.
with stepping out of your box. Yeah. And
That's
facing whatever it is you feel. Like you say, for somebody like Donald that's in the camera every day, but versus someone that's never done this before. My
yeah.
God, just the courage to do that.
It's amazing. I'm
Really
like
is.
bow down, and I'm so happy that you. Okay, this is my next question. Be careful on how you answer it, though. Okay. Be
In that
careful.
case, I'm
Okay.
drinking.
Next year, I want to do another 50 inspirational. Would you do it again with me?
Of course I would. And if we start earlier, we might actually get through 100 if we start in January instead of the middle
Oh,
of the
no, no, no,
year.
no, no. You have no idea what I do in the back room. You get to show up here and have fun. I have so many lists in the back room that I do for this video. I was like, 50 is good.
Okay. Well, listen. You are leveling me up. You do have a master class coming out. You have a global summit coming out. So knowing my sister, she's gonna figure out a way to have something else happen. That's gonna be like, Nick, you need to learn video editing next. Like really, like you've already reached there. Now you need to go again.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's what friends are for, right? Like, but I
yeah,
don't push you if you're not ready. But when you're like
no,
ready, you're just like, hey, how do you do this? I'm like, let's go, right? And it's
yeah,
just it's so fascinating and amazing at the same time watching you level up. And people are encouraged in so many ways, even without telling me. I have a smile on my face when I see people level up their game because they consistently show up. I'm like, level
Yeah.
up. And
It's
the word
happening.
reciprocity was never used until I complained about reciprocity. And I have a whole, remember that when I was like complain mode, and I have a whole like gazillion
Yeah.
5,000 words about reciprocity, and I was like calling
You
Sierra.
went through your
Yeah, I'm
your
like,
reciprocity phase for sure. But you know what? It's just everything that's happening, everything that we're doing. And then I see so many other people doing things too. And it really, really, that in itself is inspiring. So
are you ready though?
yeah, and
I was like,
we're so silly.
I know. Okay, so I'll be honest. None of this video I have watched. So this will be my first time that I'd be watching this video with you.
Good.
Fine. Are you ready? This is Brother Timothy.
Hi everyone, I'm Timothy Gleason and it's great to meet you. I'm here hoping to level up our world. I'm a tax accountant preparing financial statements and tax returns for companies, trusts, partnerships, self-managed super funds, and tax returns for anyone who earns an income here in Australia. I'm passionate about surfing big waves, mental health, kindness. I'm anti-bullying. I encourage everyone for self-improvement through further education and practical improvement. How did I level up my world? Well, after 15 years of working in various industries, in warehousing, convenience store management, and later on self-employed as a taxi driver, I was frustrated not being able to obtain a senior management position. I was married with a wife, 2 kids, and a mortgage after buying a home. I had a chance opportunity of seeing a friend's daughter's university graduation ceremony, and that ceremony changed my life. I said to myself, one day I'm going to be one of those people standing up on stage receiving a degree. How did I do it? Well, I started to dream. I visualized seeing myself standing up on stage receiving a degree. I then had to apply practical ways of obtaining that. So I completed a business diploma full-time for 2 years, and then later on a business degree majoring in accounting for another 3 years. Time management was important. So for 4 days a week, I attended universities, lectures, tutorials. I had to do all the homework, assignments, everything on those 4 days. And on the other 3 days, I drove 3 12-hour shifts driving the taxi to pay the bills and to keep life moving. It was the most intense time. I didn't want to fail because if I failed, I'd have to go back driving taxis again. And I knew I wanted something much better for my life. So I just kept going every day, dreaming that dream, working hard. And after 5 years, I got my degree and I'm now working, as I said, as a tax accountant. I'm just so proud of what I achieved. What would I like to be known in my community? Well, I'd like to be known for my kindness, someone who cares about others and giving everything I've got to become successful. What have I done that have made an impact on people's lives? Well, in June, I participated in this push-up challenge, completing 3,144 push-ups over 23 days. I started with a team of 2 and our team grew to 10. We all completed the 3,144 push-ups, and that number, 3,144, represented the number of suicide deaths of people who died in Australia. I raised $3,310, and our team of 10 raised $7,638 for Lifeline Australia. Now, Lifeline Australia equate $39 of being able to save a life through a conversation for someone needing help. That $7,638 is the potential of saving 195 lives, of which myself and my team are just so proud. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm on LinkedIn, Timothy Gleeson. You'll see a surfing photo behind me, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for the opportunity of speaking with you, and I'd like to get to know you all better. Thank you.
Oh, brother. What do you think?
Ooh.
I loved him, like he has the hero's journey that everyone looks for. Like I could make this into an animation movie. The guy that's driving, like imagine him, picture him like, he's driving a taxi cab. He's like really tired, comes home, baby, wife, goes back and upstairs after cooking and everything else with his wife, and then studies. And then 5 years later, he's like, I'm envisioning myself to be this. I don't want to drive a taxi cab anymore.
It's very inspiring, especially because, not everybody has the opportunity to come out of high school and attend college. So, I went back to college myself when I was, I want to say 31. And my son might have been, can't remember now, 8 or 9. Probably not doing that math quite right. But it was such a struggle to work full time and be in class till 11 and doing homework on the bus, studying at the bus stop. And my hat off to Timothy for finishing. I was not able to finish, and I have no excuses now whatsoever. I mean, there's nothing stopping me from going back, and I want to make that really clear. And as somebody that's a go-getter, I'm going and getting it in a different way. But I don't want to take anything away from somebody that commits themselves to that level of leveling up.
Yeah.
That's like, you have so many other commitments. And I'm thrilled beyond thrilled. And you speak about reciprocity, and I have to say something. When I saw Timothy's cause, I donated. I didn't even realize that he knew that I donated. I'm not thinking that anybody's necessarily looking at that because it's a bunch of people doing it, right? And then when My 2 Cents on Self Love came out, Timothy was the first in Australia to go and purchase 2 copies and send me an email as well as a DM to tell me that he went straight to my chapter to read it. Okay, so that in itself is leveling up. Look at how people can touch each other and change each other's lives and do so much for each other.
Right? When
Timothy,
you're giving, you don't expect from giving, you get more. That's why it's better to give than to receive, people. Like literally. I love it. And I know what he did too, because I was DMing him. I'm like, bro, our book is set. I'm like, he probably thought, fine, one for Sis CJ and one for Nicole. Like, why not?
I know. And he totally reposted when we put the call out there that we were this close. We were number 2 in Australia, number 2.
Yeah.
And he put a post out. He's like, listen, all my Aussie friends, step up here. And that kind of support is inspirational.
Amazing. I love it. And yeah, it was so amazing. I posted it to all like Lisa Marie and Jennifer Sharp because they were in Australia. I'm like,
Anthony Earl. Like,
oh yeah. I'm like, oh my God,
he is the champion.
So amazing. Okay, so we're done with Timothy. Thank you so much for that, Tim. Okay. Let's go with Amber. Do you want to watch Amber's?
Yes, I want to see Amber. I definitely do. It was an episode on Soulman. It was deep, and I think that a few people they had to back out. I cried through that whole episode.
Okay, here's Amber.
Hello, my name is Amber Hollowell. I'm a health advocate, and this is my video submission for the 50 Inspirational Connections Challenge. Trigger warning, I'm going to tell you the reason why I became a health advocate. So I was molested as a child. I was raped as a teenager. My ex-husband was a narcissistic, obsessive control freak who cheated on me habitually, which led to 2 STIs that led to cervical cancer. And that ended my marriage. I lost the majority of my cervix and almost 10 years in remission now. The next relationship I had, the person had a substance abuse disorder that I did not know about. And because I loved them so very much when they came into the house, I kind of ignored the first few red flags until they started beating the living hell out of me. Not once, not twice, every time they went into withdrawal for 18 months. At the same time, I was in nursing school for part of that. I dropped out of one nursing school to take care of my dad when he was diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. He died 6 months later, and I went back to nursing school 6 weeks after that and started over. 18 months later, I made my second C and was discharged from the program. You couldn't make more than 2 in that program. And what I realized was that I had been in burnout for quite some time because of my dad, because of the relationships, because of the trauma after trauma after trauma. So I took some time to deal with my PTSD. And then I went back to school to create my own degree for health advocacy with the hopes of going into legislation and working to create health reform. By the time I graduated, it was getting kind of clear that it was too politically heated to go into that pool. Plus, my oldest child had come out as a transgender, and I did not want to put a target on his back. So, in the meantime, the pandemic rolled around, and we locked down into a bubble with my parents because I lost my house. And after we moved into my parents' home, about a day later, the car died in the driveway, the only car that we had. And 3 weeks after that, everything that we had put in storage, and that was stuff of mine and stuff of my parents because they moved into an in-law suite next door. We don't really get snow here, and we had an odd snow come in, and the snow melt went into the basement of this brand new storage unit where my stuff was. And I lost over half of all the pictures of my dad and I that I had. The water damage. And I can't get this back. So loss after loss after loss. Got my degree. Pandemic is ending. What do I do with it? And I realized that bodily autonomy was something that's always been very, very important to me. I already speak out on women's reproductive rights, transgender rights, LGBTQ rights in general, BIPOC, health disparities, vaccine inequities, discrimination in the textbooks. There are so many pieces to it that I realized what I wanted to be was a voice for the voiceless, because so many times in my life, my voice had been removed. It had been taken away, or it had been squashed into a little box, into something so small that it was only a whisper. And once I found my power, once I found my voice again and stepped into it, I realized that I could help people that needed a voice, mainly my transgender son. And so I have an audio room for him. I have a book and workbook that are coming out about that, about parents communicating with their kids and saving those relationships. I am working on speaking engagements. I am starting a podcast with 3 other moms who are parents of transgender children so that we can educate the country and hopefully the world. I want to flip our healthcare to universal, but it all comes down to bodily autonomy. This is your temple. It's your choice. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for all the love and support you've given me.
Can tell you, knowing Amber's story and knowing it in a lot greater detail, that she was able to sum as much up as she was able to in that 5 minutes, if it, I wasn't paying attention to the time, really speaks to me as to the voice that she does have and her ability to reach many different audiences. I mean, there's so many levels of everything going on there, but it all draws back to her body and the fact that, she, as a person and her physical being, was so disrespected over the years. And I love that she is fighting back for people having that right of their bodies to not have it, um, pain inflicted upon them, to be able to take charge of their own lives.
I actually was in a room with her. I think it was 2 nights at a time when Anastasia had a room when it comes to having a relationship or being in a relationship in an abusive capacity, whether it's mental, spiritual, physical. And so she told her story at that time, and I almost dropped my phone in the toilet when she said that. I know. I was actually scolding my kid and I was washing my face, but it's next to the toilet. And when she said that, because it was on speaker and I was put myself on mute, when she said that, I'm like, what? And my phone flipped up and got thrown out. Because I couldn't believe that she said that so nonchalantly. Like, I think she has blocked part of her emotions because she says this so much already that I could still see the pain in her, but her focus and her mission is so strong, which is to help others in her own special way to the capacity and level that she can. And I love that she took her pain and turned it into hope.
Yes, I feel that way as well. Just one of those things happening to somebody in their life, being molested as a child, or having a child come out as transgender, it's life changing. This woman's life has been a roller coaster of downs, and she survived. And she didn't just survive and say, I survived. Okay, now let me take my life and move on with it. She looked back and said, hell no, I'm not going to see other people go through this and have their lives fall apart. And we think about ourselves as the inspiration to move ourselves forward. But where is that inspiration to move others forward?
Mhm.
That's what this project is about. And that's what you have been all about throughout all of this, is leveling, people up. And she is so doing that in her own way.
But it took a lot of courage because most people, even she said that at one point, not on this video, but on the audio room, that she used to, when we get inflicted by that, especially for women, we blame ourselves internally. And I've seen so many people, blame themselves when it's not about them. They're not the one. It's not even a choice at that point, right? It's a violation of your choice. And in so many ways, but at the same time, it took so much courage for her to see this vulnerability and labeling and all that and turn it into an inspiration. So Amber, thank you so much for doing that. You are saving so many people, women, men. It doesn't matter who it is. Just the fact that
Mhm.
you are courageous and have the power to think beyond yourself, because this mission is no longer about her. This mission is
Yeah,
about her child, the future of the people and their choices. So thank you so much for that. I took
yeah.
so much
Thank
right now
you.
not to cry.
I know, but you know what, Amber? She rallies and she says it in such a way that even though it's hurtful and makes you angry, it makes you want to stand up and fight for what's right.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel with her.
we're going to talk to my sis Sandra here. Are you ready?
Hello, my name is Sandra Gonzalez, and I'm a retired Marine officer turned high performance coach speaker who had the honor, the distinction of serving 20 years of service as a U.S. Marine. Now, I help high caliber female entrepreneurs up-level their mindset, specifically by helping them kick self-doubt and perfectionism to the curb by harnessing sexy confidence so they can take command of any room they step into and magnetize opportunities for impact and growth. Why am I passionate about helping others? I'm passionate because I've realized through my personal and professional example that challenges are here to help us grow. So I personally think that it's my duty, it's a moral obligation, my responsibility to serve others authentically by sharing my story of how I continue to overcome adversity, and more importantly, help them understand that adversity is your advantage, especially when it comes to women entrepreneurs, because building a business is not easy. And nowadays, people have become so complacent, they easily give in to mediocrity, whether it's due to a lack of discipline, internal and external distraction, the food they consume, the people they associate with themselves with. It's not good. And anything I can do to contribute to the betterment of society, that is what I'm committed to doing for the rest of my life. And I do believe that we must demonstrate strong leadership. We must also set the example and live our life with integrity. And we set the example also by being courageous and showing others the way, even though when we're scared, because it's important to be vulnerable in a way where you can share your story, be transparent, so other people can resonate with whatever it is that you're sharing. So that is why I'm applying to be one of the top 50 inspirational leaders within this community. And I appreciate the time and effort into hearing my story. And I do believe that we must demonstrate strong leadership. We must also set the example and live our life with integrity. And we set the example also by being courageous and showing others why I'm applying to be one of the top.
I think I just re-looped that. I don't know if you know her story, but
I don't. So, this was a very good opportunity. So far, everybody we've looked at, some I know very well, some I know of. But this woman, I don't, believe. I know her name, but I really don't know much of her story. And I mean,
I love her. I met her in person.
She's got to be seriously kick-ass to be a Marine for 20 years. Oh, can I say that on an air?
Welcome to Nick and CJ's face. Okay. No, anyway, her and her husband were both in the military. She's a retired Marine U.S. officer. She's a drill sergeant. Okay. There were only 3 U.S. Marine women at that time when she was serving, and she was one of the 3. Let's just say that. Her dad died, and she felt guilty because of not being there or not being enough there. And then she ended up having a divorce, and she has to she was on my podcast. She has to hire 3 lawyers. That's how complicated her divorce was. And she used to live in Dubai. and she started, women there, and she's in the military. Obviously, she's been there, and she said it takes so much control out of me to not use force, knowing I can
Yeah.
to end someone, including my ex. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I have the same control if he did that to me.
Yeah,
I
but
miss
she's
him.
also trained and skilled, I am sure, to take somebody down. And I could only imagine how difficult that is. To see any sort of inequality, any sort of inequality happening. I just realized I should probably lean back the mic thingy, right?
Yeah, but she's the one who I told you I'm like, sister, sexy confidence. That's her.
I thought I heard that. And I'm
She
like,
calls me
"Oh, look
chingona,
at
and I was
her."
like, even Apple deleted my thing that says chingona. I'm like, dude, it's not a curse word. It just says like we're badass women. Like what? Like they literally. And so
you
she calls
just said the bad 3-letter word too.
and she's like,
You're gonna get kicked off of YouTube
confidence.
before
I
I
know.
even have a channel.
It's supposed to be clean. Whoops, someone out edited it.
We don't edit.
But you know
We're
what?
real.
I love her. I take her with me and to do some speaking engagement. I'm actually going to see her and another friend that we just met on LinkedIn on Thursday. We're going to go to lunch in La Jolla and meet up. And I have a proposal for them. You know me, I'm always having some proposals and projects. I can't stop creating projects. It's just I have issues. So if anyone tells you,
realize this.
I know. Anyone tells you, I need something to do. Wait, I know a person who can give you something to do.
Well, I can't. I can only volunteer for so much. I mean, I only have 2 hands going on here.
Oh, you'll be like, I know somebody. Do you know? Okay, so Sandra is done. Who do we have? Okay, so we have either Natalie, Jennifer Sharp, or Nancy Deborah. Which one do you want to do?
Sister Creative.
All right, so let's do this. She's so cute. She even like labeled everything. Oh my gosh. Hold on, let me show you. Oh, she's so funny. Look what she did. 50 inspirational connection. Level up with Dr. Leon. Look, Nick,
You gotta love that. You could see she put her time into it, you know?
Right. I love that.
Really?
Hi, my name is Natalie. This is my video for the 50 Inspirational Connections. It's a wonderful project, and I want to say thank you, Dr. Constance, and thank you, Nicole, for this wonderful invitation. I love your message about wanting to level up the world. It flows so nicely. And you know what? It starts right here, and just one person at a time, making a video or just sharing why we care and why we want to make a difference. I'm originally from Canada. I moved to the United States with my 2 kids and husband. It's going to be 20 years in December. As an artist, I always wanted to share my art to just kind of express myself, but also I love what it does when people see my art and how it makes them feel. About 11 years ago, I discovered social media through Facebook, like most of us. And I created a group called the Women of Facebook. It was a women's group. And doing this, first of all, it revealed a part of me I didn't know was there. It's like the uplifter and the woman who wants to encourage others just kind of came out. And it was a beautiful experience to talk with women all over the world. And it was so powerful. So I learned a lot from, other women and other individuals out there sharing their message. And that's how I'm here today talking about creativity. So I want to empower individual. Mostly, I work with women mostly, but just empower individuals to embrace their creativity so that they can create amazing things, just have a more balanced life and more relaxed life. So the way I do that is through my coloring books, my journals. I do videos about how to color, how to paint, and I just like to be online and share again my art and my message to embrace creativity. Creativity is so much more than painting something pretty. It's a way for people to do like self-discovery, to understand more of who they are, to solve problems. It's good for memory. It's good. Actually, there's a friend of mine that shared there's like 23 benefits to being more creative. So that's for another video. But anyway, I'm just really thrilled to be able to use my creativity, my art, to create tools for people to embrace their own creativity. And what comes around goes around. People who really inspire me are people who are not afraid to be themselves, are not afraid to admit when they're wrong, and who are authentic, just can laugh at themselves. And I'm really inspired by people like that, and leaders who have a commitment and have a consistent message out there. So listen, I'm glad I got to do this video for you today. I hope I'm within 5 minutes because I like to follow the rules. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.
Okay, so all this background, if we do this next year, there's a lot of work and what, and me, I can help with the posts, I can help with the graphics. I certainly will always show up to watch the videos and do what I can to support. But the background part, I don't know too much of. Look, you got one of our sisters right there. She seems to know quite a bit. I mean, that was a video submission and some.
I know she leveled that up, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. And I love how she popped her little pieces of what she does in there. My coloring book's on the way.
Oh,
My sisterhood journal.
I want that.
I love that she's so positive. And we are close friends. You, Nat, myself, Susanna, and Christine. We're the creative sisters, and we know quite a bit more about Natalie's story. And she could have gone in a very different direction with it, and she did not. And that makes me feel so overjoyed that everything that transpired in her life brought her to this moment. And this moment when she did the video, this is how she felt, how she feels about her life. And I think that that's really inspiring.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's interesting to me when I'm watching the video, especially if I know them, and the moment of their life to sum up in, less than 5 minutes on what they want to submit is so amazing and fascinating at the same time. I'm like, oh, so this is the part you want to inspire others. And I love that. That was kind of cool. I truly enjoy that. Nat is an amazing woman, and she encourages me to doodle and call it a day. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go with Nancy. I don't know her story. I'm sure you do. So let's watch it. I haven't watched it.
I know some of it from watching Soul Man.
It's not playing. It's not playing. So let's take a look. Let me.
My song.
Of course, my abuse and my anorexia and my major depressive episode after confronting my grandfather, and the ups and downs and shitty, snotty, and sexy times, or as I like to say, the ugly, snotty, and sexy times that led to the good, even when I didn't know where it was going, even right to these last 5 weeks in this journey that I'm having and I'm learning through with my parents, and the love and patience. And absolutely, you have to, I always knew my story was bigger than me, and that I guess that for me, like, I know there's someone behind me who's looking to me for inspiration to know they can. And there's always someone ahead of me that I can look to for inspiration and to know I can. And how important that is that we keep going and provide those examples, and do it in a way that's real and authentic and not, I mean, me showing up on only my perfect days doesn't do anyone any good. In fact, it's literally hurting people. It's literally killing people if I only show the good. So, I'm committed to showing all of it. But yeah, if I, in my career as a speech pathologist, I know I've changed lives, and helping people communicate and be able to build relationships is a privilege. All of it, everything I've gotten to do has been a privilege. Even the crap that made me who I am. Because there's people who go through what I went through and don't come out the way I did and don't have the support that I had. So I will continue doing that, of course, even without this. As much as I would love to be recognized in that way publicly, I don't know. Like, I know it's happening already and I'm recognized in that way. But of course, it means a lot to have peers, see you that way, and to have that thing, like that I don't know, I think for all of us who are creators, as confident as we are, it's always nice to have that reassurance, that we're making a difference. Yeah, I think we just all need to know how powerful we are, even terrified. We're powerful. Because I want to be able to have connected human conversations in person. Like, after I speak, when I have those conversations, they're so empowering. Or like when I went and was speaking at the keynote speaker at Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, and I had a conversation with someone who was in attendance and, basically did a free coaching session and was able to guide him in a way that he came to me and messaged me, sent me a voice message saying, "Oh my gosh, so glad I talked to you. I did exactly what you said, and it was the best conversation. I never would have gotten there without you. Thank you for seeing and understanding me so clearly that you could advise me that way." I mean, and it was an important conversation that he needed to have with a friend that was sick. If I could do that, right? Speak for an hour and then be with people. Yeah. And money be no object. And have, do my show live so people can have, like, there are people out there that don't have a single soul to have a real conversation with. That would be, exhilarating to know that I could make that difference.
The chick with the tool bath, I just love it. And I have to tell you, the first time I saw Nancy Deborah Barros was on Voice Your Vibe, and I can't remember. I think it was Aaron Gibson that put Paging Nicole and I, and it popped up in my notification. So of course I ran over there to see what it was all about. And I don't want to divulge too much about my feelings on the show, because they are doing a book that's coming out about the show, and I was able to author a chapter in it. And I'm going to save that for what I put in there and how that show made me feel. But I will say this. There is a song that they play in that show every single Saturday that says "You Are Somebody." And I go because I have to hear it. Because when I hear it, I don't know if I want to cry. I don't know if I want to laugh. Every emotion runs through me, and I feel so, so special, so seen and so loved. And that's what I get from her, that she makes people feel seen and loved. And she had fairy wings, which were really cute, and they were purple, and purple's my favorite color. So.
Hands a little purple here and a little pink, because that's what we are, pink and purple.
Yes. And she's so strong. She was just with her parents for quite a while. And I could only imagine with the obligations that she has. That's the thing. When you become a pillar in the community of inspiration to others, There's a lot of responsibility and a lot of accountability that goes into that. You don't just show up whenever you feel like. You actually show up because they need you.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to juggle both. But then you do also end up in a community that's very like you, and they understand the importance of needing to step away.
Yeah, sometimes you do. You got to. You can't show up all the time and not break down. We're human beings. We're not robots. And I love what I seen when she said there's always going to be somebody in front of me that I look for, inspiration. And I'm an inspiration to somebody behind me who looks inspiration from me. And I like that because that is a cycle, right? um, I look from, inspiration to do things and create things because of you guys and my community. I can teach so many. It's not even funny. I can teach literally anything. Like literally, we could talk physics. Let me study for an hour. I'm sure I can teach physics. But at the same time, it's not that. It's customized to my community because that's the need at the moment, right? And I love that we're having a lot of conversation in mental health because that's a taboo, right? People don't want to talk about your mental health because once you talk about it, you're labeled as crazy. And now people prioritize it because without mental well-being, it doesn't matter how much money or accolades or degrees you have, it doesn't matter, right?
So,
So
how does it feel to have a partner working on this project with you who happens to, at least I'm going to say, one of your closest friends, but she's bipolar? See? So, am I
it's just
nutty? Am I not dependable? Am I not
no,
intelligent? Am I, So,
no,
like you say, the emphasis of what? Break the stigma of what? We are the stigma. It starts with us. We who suffer with a mental illness need to stop looking at ourselves as if we're any different. And that's helped me a lot to say, you know what? I'm not any different. And if you're going to look at me like that, step outside of my circle. You don't need to be in it.
yeah.
Okay, that
And I
was kind of rude, but you know what I mean.
I think we are the worst critic of our own selves.
Yes, we
When
are.
Yeah, when you hear a word and you don't like that word at the moment, okay, because you're at the moment there's so much crap going on in your head and your emotions and your surroundings, and you hear a word that just triggers. I had that moment last week. I had that moment 2 days ago. I had that moment 4 days ago. Last week was just like I was like, I needed some support. Like, I need some oxygen. It was bad. Last week was bad. I'm hoping this week is good. It started really good. And, and I don't know, maybe because it was my birthday week and it was a horrible week. Like, I don't know. It was just too much for me. And we're going up and leveling up to that. It's just for the moment. It's part of the journey. You can't have always, like, it's yin and yang. Think about white and darkness, It's yin and yang. And it's life. It's ups and downs. And it's when you find your friends when you're down and they're still there with your craziness, you can
Yeah.
take them to the level up, right? Like, come on, let's go. Yeah.
Listen, I wouldn't. Okay, maybe I'm a little crazy. I was just gonna say I'm not crazy, but I am a little crazy. And you know what? Never in control. Why did I name the audio room that? Because
You're
that's how
never
I
in
do it.
control.
I'm never in control, but yet in never being in control and being able to pivot and adapt and move, I get to accomplish tons of things. So you don't have to be in control all of the time.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
You
I
don't.
think the more you want to control, remember I talked this conversation, the more you want to take control over everything, you're going to go crazy because there are things that it is a choice and there are things that you just out of control. And that's when you need friends to like, hey, we could do it this way or we could do it that way. It's okay. I mean, Wendy, step it up. You called me, we step it up. I was in the room. Like it's an orchestra in our life. We need all of the players in our life. It takes a village to raise a child. Now that we're adults, it takes a community to raise us. You know what I mean? Like
I
literally.
know. And just think there are going to be 50 inspirational connections up there. And if each person touches 10,
We're good. That's my goal. Ripple effect. Ripple
yep.
effect. That's my goal. I love it. And I know you're crazy because you said yes to me, so we're good. I'm like, oh, Nicole's crazy. She didn't know what she was signing up for.
It's
Oh,
been worth every single minute of sleep that I've lost, Constance. It has. I'm just kidding.
oh, probably because I take you out of your nap. Get up. I need to do this. All right. So this is our last one. This is from Jennifer Sharp, our Aussie friends.
Why do I do what I do? What is my purpose? Simply to share my story and the story of others, to empower us to create impact, inspire, connect, support, encourage. I learned from an early age the power of story, thanks to my granddad. My life was great when I was little. I always looked forward to weekly visits with granddad. He would sit me on his knee and he'd begin sharing stories, whether he read them or told them. In his own lyrical way, he was teaching me the power of words, what they meant, how they could be harsh, and how they could also be healing. What I remember the most is that he gave me a voice. I was allowed to speak. I was allowed to question. I was allowed to speak my thoughts out loud. He was unknowingly empowering me. Once he passed, the sharing of story and empowerment stopped. Fast forward a few years and I chose to be mute. Select mutism, if you like. I didn't grow up surrounded by strong men. It was very much a man's world. He spoke, you listened. He spoke, you didn't. I eventually chose to not speak. It was easier. I didn't speak at home. I didn't speak at school. But what I did do was continue to immerse myself in books, in words and story. For me, words were my connection with the world and my connection with granddad. I thought I had lost all that was important to me. I had lost me. But the power of story always remained. It's the power of story that reminds us of who we are, where we came from, to be who we are today. I learned over the years that our stories, our words that we speak to ourselves, help us to acknowledge and accept who we are. How many of us can stand in front of a mirror and honestly say, I like you, I love you? How many of us can actually do that? The power of story, whether drawn, written, spoken, it doesn't matter. We need to continually be teaching our little ones that they have a voice. And the more they share their stories, the stronger they grow. And once we write these stories, they are embedded in our history forever. Our words transform us and those around us. They unite us. Through using our words, we are learning to not be ashamed of where we have come from, but to embrace it, take it on face first, kick it in the butt, and be totally vulnerable about it. It took me 25 years to learn this vulnerability and to tell my story. For a while, I didn't tell my story, withdrawing myself in fear of being rejected, laughed at, put in my place. But the moment I did share, my whole world changed. My energy shifted. I looked up, not down. My confidence grew along with my abilities. People began responding. This is the power of story. This is what we also must teach our little ones. For many years, I was a classroom teacher, teaching 4, 5, 6-year-olds, that first year of formal schooling. From the moment these kids walked into my classroom, they knew they were in a safe place, that they had a voice, and I allowed them to use it. I gave them permission to speak and showed them how to do so respectfully. We need to learn as adults to listen to our children, their thoughts, concerns, fragilities. Our kids need to learn that they are important. It doesn't matter what continent they come from. From the moment they are born, from the moment they take that first breath and let out that first cry, they have the right to speak and to be heard. This is the power of story. Bringing stories to life is what I do, to create impact, to create respect for self and others. I was not going to allow any child in my classroom or my own children grow up muted, select or otherwise. I love both of my publishing companies. They are who I am. Daisyland Publishing, dedicated to children and for children, and my granddad. and Soul Lessons International dedicated to those who want to share their stories with all their heart and soul that they can muster. The power of words, the power of story, to be able to lead with soul, honouring Granddad and to live his legacy is such a privilege and blessing. And thank you, Dr. Constance Leyland and your team for this opportunity. Thank you.
I feel in her every word that she says how it touches her. She's very expressive in her intonation. And there's so much that I took away from her, and I don't know her at all. And I just came to know someone, just as so many strangers will read our stories that we've published, and we will never know them, or we will never know the impact our words had on them. And that's what I love that she keeps saying about telling your story. And I especially love that she encourages children to talk, because I was very fortunate that my father was that way. He never shut me up. He never told me that I was a rude child. I was always encouraged to express myself and to have those conversations with him, even if, he was an adult and I was speaking in my child words. Um, she's
I love Jennifer. She's another publisher. Just like Mr. Lee, when she lost her son during the publishing, she's the one who actually published Dr. Nupi as the main person in the magazine, and Lisa Marie and myself was featured in that magazine. She does the Soul of Essence. I'm on that magazine. I wrote about 1,500 words, I think, on that magazine about leading with the soul, and I provided an example as a dean and as a business leader on how I look at diversity. And she lost a family member during this time. It was supposed to come out in May and she couldn't. And she lost her family member as well. And that's why the magazine came out late. And I didn't know about her story, but Jennifer is another strong woman that I love her, and I talk to her, and you'll see her. She supports some of our posts and things like that, and she's also near Timothy with like Lisa Marie. They're all on that other Aussie area, but this is a great project because you get to know people that you don't ever know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've
And
seen her name, but I couldn't say that I necessarily follow her content or could tell you off the top of my head what it is that she did.
yeah, she's a publisher. She has 2 publishing companies in Australia. She actually just won, I think, a G100 award in Australia. So she's really great, and she loves children, and I love that. And I'm one of these days I'm going to push her for Christine, because I think that would be a really great idea for them to hook up. Christine teaches for 30 years. I mean, hello, publishing company, 30 years, international. Do you see the connection now?
Yeah, and that age group as well.
Mhm.
And then even everyone that we've seen so far, that's what I love is that's happening here, because the little pieces start. I'm sure it's happening with you as well. Start falling together in your head. Oh, that person's in education. I know this person and that person. Oh, that person is publishing. I know this person and that person. And I've done it, and I know you've done it, where you read a post and someone that would
Mhm.
appreciate that post, and you tag them into it.
Yeah.
So
That's what the point is of LinkedIn, obviously, not just like, good job, wow, amazing. Like, what does that do? Nothing. Like, nothing.
what do you mean? Have a good night.
Yeah, I love all the inspirational people today, and let's continue on episode 4. But on this episode 3, any last minute thing before we stop our recording? This is already in an hour. What do you think? What's your last minute words?
No, it's just hard to believe that we've already watched 18 of these videos. The time really does go by quickly. You could be sitting here and it's like watching a movie, and I could probably watch 6 more. And there's something different about each one. You know, you kind of get pulled in and you kind of want to know more. There's intrigue. Okay, so this is a snapshot of your life. I mean, like a really tiny one, and you're like, this identifies with something in me and I want to know more.
Mm-hmm.
Just the whole idea of I gotta ask you as the host in the hot seat. Stealing that phrase from my buddy Aaron Gibson there. What what inspired you to do this project? How did this even come about?
In my head.
Yeah, I don't want to get in your head, CJ. I'm just saying, but
There's a lot
not
going
now.
on in that
We
head.
will be here until next week.
Yeah, no, actually this project came about, and you know me, once I'm locked on dead target, nothing stops me from going anywhere. I hurricane nothing. And
It
so
better not be me and no bullseye on my back. I'm telling you right now.
no, actually what really inspired me is partially you also, because of how you show up for yourself, and really partially just watching my community, like Christian showing up, and he always puts me in his audio room and like, Dr. Constance, this, because people who listens well, that's the thing that I want to tell you guys. I don't care how smart you are, if you don't listen well and act on it, it's nothing. It's nothing. And so I'm the type of person that when I hear something, I act on it right away. Whether it's going to go anywhere, who knows? But what really inspired me is when I reflect, someone asked me a question: how did you go to 6 continents and 70 nations in 1 year? Like, how did you do that? I said, and the first answer I said is, I don't know. That's literally what I said. And they're like, you don't have an answer? I'm like, no, I don't have a moment. Give me a moment. And when I discovered for that, it took me 2 days and I couldn't sleep because I was really trying to figure out. And it's really this need for me to elevate my community. I never had a mentor growing up. I'm jealous of the people who have mentors. Never had a mentor. Never had a parent that raised me. Don't have a brother and sister. And I just want my community to know that sometimes, just like what Deborah said, it's nice to feel that your colleagues recognizes you. And I want you to recognize others. I don't need any more recognition. I already get that from whatever I'm doing. But like, people who don't speak up out there will miss the train. But the people who are brave enough and courageous enough, even though they're scared, they don't know what's going to happen on this project. No one did. Not even you, not even I. I had an idea, but I just want my community to feel like it is a safe space with us.
Yes, and I think that's exactly what you did. Like you said, you created a space where people are familiar with you, with me, with LinkedIn, and they could now come out and say, okay, you know what? I want to do this, and if I'm ever going to do this, maybe this is somewhere that I can do it. And they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody has a platform or support. And even like Nancy said, there are so many good people out there that don't have one person to talk to for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. It's a fear of judgment, right? We know somebody in our group too. It's a fear of judgment because it's that constant rejection that you get, right? And you don't know if the next friend who tells you that they're your friend really accepts you for who you are. The moment that you get vulnerable, you don't know if that friend is going to step out on you at any day and any time now and make that judgment, right?
But what I like is that as we grow, as we continue to grow here on LinkedIn and grow with each other, our confidence grows, our perception of our self-worth grows. We grow. It's like growing into bigger shoes. I mean, shoes that were too big, but you're starting to fill them out is what I'm trying to say. And then you're gonna get in there and in your shoes, and you're not gonna walk around flopping in them anymore because now they fit perfectly. That's how I feel. At least I have still so much growing to do, but I was like toddler size feet in my husband's size 10 shoes 6 months ago.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you feel that I picked you and then now that you're here?
Amazing, because I feel like the desire is there for me to want to level up, and I try to level up within the parameters of what I know, but there's so much that I don't know. And it's not just, oh, let me go pick up a book and read, or let me go take a course, or your ability to explain it um, in dummy proof for Nick. And I'm not saying I'm a dummy, but I'm saying, in a way that I can relate makes all the difference. If somebody writes a book and the way that they write it or what they're explaining flies over my head, how is that helping me? It doesn't. You're able to draw from a real life example, and then I could go, oh, that's what you meant. Oh, I get it. And that's what makes you relatable. And as a teacher, you have to be relatable. You have to have different teaching styles, I think, to some extent, because you have different students. And not everybody learns the same way. You know me, I'm a very hands on, in your face, show me once, I'm going to get it right. But I am going to ask you 10 questions if I have to, because that's just me. Some people wouldn't ask and they will just fail 10 times and get fed up and move along. But you are that teacher, though, that does not give up. You don't push. You don't push. You pull the answer out of the person. So in the end, that person ends up feeling really good about themselves because they feel like they were always able to do it.
I see potential in others that they don't see. I don't even think you see your potential, and I see it clearly. And even with people who are like, well, what is your class about? I don't think I could do that. And I'm like, okay, give me 3 seconds right now, actually 4 seconds right now to explain to you why I think you could do it. And I tell them, and they're like, oh, you're right. I could totally see that. I'm like, ta-da. And I think
Exactly.
the reason I could do that is because in my short life, I've done 4 or 5 things all at once. You see it. I have project after project just coming out. That's how I
Yeah,
work.
I don't know how you do that. You must have a shadow working while you're sleeping because,
I'm
no,
like, there's a twins here somewhere.
no, you know what I think does make you stand apart from people, for me at least, right? I can only say from my experience. You want people to level up, so you find a way to do that for them in a way that they need. You do know a lot, Constance. There's no doubt about that. You're not a one topic person, right? So you're not saying, well, this is what I know, and I'm going to shove this down your throat and teach you because you need to know it. No, you might know 20 different things, and 20 different people need to learn one thing from you, and you will impart as much knowledge as you have on that subject to them. You don't do this out of fear of somebody bypassing you or being better than you or any of that. You are so free with your knowledge, and it's not something that I think everyone's capable of saying, here, listen, I worked hard to learn this, and so now I'm just going to give it to you for free. I'm going to give you some advice. I'm going to make this course that costs me $10,000 affordable to you. Why? Because it's going to make your life better. So don't start crying, number one. And number two, take the acknowledgement, because I know for a fact how you are. And oftentimes, the people that do great things have a really hard time hearing other people tell them that they're doing great things. You want to tell me how proud you are of me? You got to be able to hear it back, sister. Just saying.
I know. And I'm such a crybaby. I always cry. Seriously. That's why I buy like none. See, my mascara hasn't run down, has it? Because it's. I know I'm gonna cry, so I put like.
Don't start, because I have the cheap mascara, okay? And it is going to run.
You're
So,
gonna look like a rock star. But anyway, yeah, thank you so much for doing that. And I think because my lack of everything growing up, I'm giving back to my community so no one ever feel the way I feel.
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
You're inspired by your own story, and this is exactly what we wanted.
That's right.
So I love you, and
You next episode, right? No? You're not
next
gonna
see you next episode. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see you before that, but okay.
No, I mean for them peoples who are watching this.
Oh, it's all about Nick. I'm sorry. No, but
Guys.
everybody out there, thank you. Thank you for supporting Constance and myself. But most of all, thank you for supporting each other.
Yeah. Hopefully you got inspired on all this submission this week. Bye guys. See you next